Come on in, girls. Gather round. Your favorite uncle, Uncle Tom, has a story for you. Snuggle up. Get comfy. Are you ready for a tale of magic, adventure, and a little bit of danger? This is the story of the Nutcracker. It all begins on a cold Christmas Eve, long, long ago. Snow was falling outside, blanketing the world in white, but inside the Stahlbaum house, it was warm and filled with laughter. Clara and her brother Fritz were buzzing with excitement. Can you imagine? The tree was decorated with sparkling lights and shiny ornaments, and underneath, presents were piled high. The whole family was their aunts, uncles, cousins, and the air smelled like gingerbread and pine needles. Their godfather, the mysterious and wonderful hairdresser, arrived with a twinkle in his eye and a large, oddly shaped gift under his arm. He was a clockmaker and a toy maker, and his creations were always magical. This year, he brought a magnificent toy castle with dancing figures inside. But for Clara, he had something extra special. He presented her with a wooden soldier, a nutcracker with a big jaw and a friendly, painted smile. Clara fell in love with him instantly. Now, remember what I said about being careful. This is where it gets important. Clara's brother, Fritz, was a bit rowdy. He snatched the nutcracker from Clara, and trying to crack a nut that was way too big, he broke its jaw. Oh! Clara was heartbroken. Her little wooden soldier was hurt, but Godfather Drosselmeyer, with his clever hands, bandaged the nutcracker's jaw with a ribbon. Clara cradled her wounded soldier, promising to take good care of him. This is also a good time to remember what Mom and Dad always say, "Leisten to two." When the party ended and it was time for bed, Clara's parents told her to leave the toys downstairs. But Clara was worried about her nutcracker. So, when everyone was asleep, she tiptoed back to the living room. The grandfather clock chimed midnight, and suddenly, something strange began to happen. The Christmas tree started to grow, and grow, and grow, until it touched the ceiling. The toys around the room came to life. And then, from the shadows, scurrying from under the floorboards, came an army of mice, led by their terrifying, seven-headed mouse king. They were big, much bigger than normal mice, and they looked very menacing. Clara was so scared, she didn't know what to do. But then, another miracle. Her beloved Nutcracker sprang to life. He wasn't just a wooden toy anymore. He was a brave commander. He drew his tiny sword and rallied the other toy soldiers to fight the mice army. A huge battle began. The gingerbread soldiers fought bravely. The tin soldiers stood their ground, but the mice were fierce and overwhelming. The Mouse King cornered the Nutcracker, ready for the final blow. Clara knew she had to do something. She had to help her friend. Seeing her chance, she took off her slipper and threw it as hard as she could, right at the Mouse King. It hit him square on one of his heads, distracting him just long enough for the Nutcracker to strike and win the battle. The mice army scurried away in defeat. And then, the most magical thing of all happened. As Clara rushed to her victorious Nutcracker, he transformed. The wooden shell fell away, and standing before her was a handsome young prince. He thanked Clara for saving his life and told her he had been under a curse from the Mouse King. Because of her bravery, the spell was broken. To thank her, the prince invited Clara on a journey to his kingdom, the land of sweets. He took her hand, and together they traveled through a snowy forest where the snowflakes were cold but danced around them like tiny ballerinas. It was a winter wonderland, more beautiful than anything Clara had ever seen. The Snow Queen and King greeted them and sent them on their way with a magical sleigh pulled by reindeer. They finally arrived at a magnificent palace made entirely of candy. The walls were gingerbread, the roof was frosting, and the river was made of lemonade. This was the land of sweets, and ruling over it was the beautiful Sugar Plum Fairy. The prince told everyone how Clara had saved him. To celebrate her courage, the Sugar Plum Fairy commanded a grand festival in her honor. Dancers from all over the kingdom came to perform for her. There was hot chocolate from Spain, with dancers who clicked coffee from Arabia, with a mysterious, flowing dance. Tea from China, with quick, acrobatic leaps. And candy canes from Russia, who performed a powerful energetic folk dance. Then came the delicate dance of the reed flutes, followed by the enchanting waltz of the flowers, where dozens of dancers dressed as beautiful blossoms twirled across the floor. Finally, the Sugar Plum Fairy herself performed a solo dance that was so light and graceful, it was like watching a dream. Clara was mesmerized by all the wonderful sights and delicious treats. It was the most incredible party she could ever imagine. But all good things must come to an end. As the celebration wound down, Clara started to feel sleepy. The prince and the Sugar Plum Fairy waved goodbye as she began to float away, back through the clouds, back through the snowy forest, back to her own home. Clara woke up with a start. She was back in her living room, curled up by the Christmas tree. The morning sun was streaming through the window. Was it all a dream? She looked down, and there in her arms was her little wooden Nutcracker, his jaw perfectly fixed, with the ribbon still tied around it. Dream or not, she knew she had been part of something truly magical. And that, my dears, is the story of the Nutcracker. It's a story about how being brave and kind can lead to the most wonderful adventures. Clara was careful with her toy. She was brave when she needed to be. And even though she snuck downstairs, she learned a valuable lesson about listening. And it shows you how important uncles are, right? Who else is going to tell you such amazing stories? Now, think about the Sugar Plum Fairy and the dancing snowflakes. Let all those sweet thoughts drift through your mind. It's time to close your eyes. The adventures can continue in your dreams. Sleep tight, my little sweethearts. Good night.